So last time we saw one important concept in finite element method, that is the shape functions, and we had derived the shape function for 1D linear element. 1D means the parameters will be changing only in one direction, and linear element means we derived the property of this of this element, or we derive the displacement model of this element using the linear polynomial function. So this was the polynomial function which we had assumed, and then in the process of deriving this displacement model, this is, by the way, this is called as displacement model. In the process of deriving this displacement model, we came across the two important things, that is ni and nj, and they are called as the shape function. They are called as the shape function of 1D linear element. The shape functions for other type of element will be something different from this, but these are the shape functions for 1D linear element. And how do we get this element? We know that in finite element method, whatever is the assumed trial function or displacement model is not applied over the entire domain, right, from this to this, but what we do is we divide this entire domain into small parts, and those small parts are called as element. And for this one element we choose this polynomial function, and from there we derive this displacement model. Then we had seen some properties of this shape function. We had said that the sum of this shape function is equal to 1. For example, if I add them up, if I add ni plus nj, I will get this as 1. Then because if I add this ni and nj, then this minus x and plus x will cancel out. Xj minus xi is nothing but again the length of this element, so length by length will be 1. Then we had seen that the sum of the derivatives of the shape function is equal to 0. If I take the derivative of this shape function with respect to x, if I take the derivative of this shape function with respect to x, and if I add them up, I will get this as minus 1 by l plus 1 by l, which will be 0. So the sum of the derivatives of the shape function is 0. And the last and the important property of this shape function is ni. This shape function ni will be equal to 1 at x equal to xi, and it will be equal to 0 at x equal to xj. That means at this point this ni will be equal to 1, and at this node the ni will be equal to 0. And although this here it is 1 and here it is 0, the variation in this shape function will be linear. And again, that the reason is we had started from a linear polynomial function, and that's why the variation of this shape function will be linear. And similarly, nj will be equal to 1 at x equal to xj. So nj will be equal to 1 here at the node, at the node j, and it will be 0 at the node I. And again the variation for this shape function nj will be again linear. So this is what we had seen last time. We had derived this in detail, and then again I just want to discuss about this displacement model. I just want to discuss about this displacement model in a bit. So if I plot this displacement model over the element, now here we had considered only one typical element. So if I consider just two consecutive elements, let us say element 1 and 2, and if I plot them, if I draw them here, if I draw this element 1 and element 2, or any element, say element 3 and element 4, or this and this element, any two consecutive elements, and if I try to plot this displacement model over this element, we'll be able to observe this kind of trend wherein we see that the variation is linear. The variation is linear in the element. The variation is linear in the element, and it is continuous across the boundary. Now this is the node, or this is a kind of a boundary between these two elements, element 1 and element 2, or any element between the two consecutive elements. This acts as a boundary, and we see that this displacement model is linear in the element and it is continuous across the boundaries. So this kind of trial solution is called as this kind of trial solutions or displacement model are called as linear in each element, and continuous across boundaries. boundaries. The displacement model which are linear in each element and continuous across the boundaries are called as piecewise continuous, are called as piecewise continuous. So this kind of displacement model which are linear in each element and continuous across the boundaries are called as piecewise continuous. Now further, if I take the derivative of this displacement model, by the way, this displacement model u equal to ni ui plus nj uj, I can write this in following fashion, that is in terms of the matrix form, because in finite element method we generate large number of linear algebraic equations, and to handle them in a better way we will be using this matrices very frequently. So in terms of matrix form I can write it in this fashion. So it will be ni nj multiplied by this column vector ui uj, and if I further multiply this I will get back this, right? Because if I multiply this with this is 1 by 2, and this is 2 by 1. So if I multiply this will be just one term, and if I multiply this I will get this as ni ui plus nj uj. So this is how I can write this displacement model in this matrix form. Further I can just denote this as n, and then this as delta. And if I do this, then if I take the derivative of this u, I can take the derivative of this displacement model, and then this delta or this ui uj are the unknown variables at the node. So they are not the function of x, they are the fixed values at the node I and node j, but these shift functions are the function of x. So this derivative of u with respect to x will be applicable only to this shape function. And if I take the derivative of this displacement model, with respect to x, and then if I plot it over the two adjacent element 1 and element 2, or any two adjacent elements, I will observe that this derivative of this displacement model is constant in the element. It will be constant in the given element, or the derivative of this displacement model for the second element with respect to x will be constant in that element, but it will be discontinuous across the boundaries. So we can observe this trend for a derivative of the displacement model, that it is constant in the element, whereas it is discontinuous across the boundaries. And this basically happens if we go for a linear polynomial function. And then if I want to remove this discontinuity, I can go for higher order polynomial, higher degree of polynomial. So this is what I wanted to just discuss about the shift functions. Of course we had derived it in detail in the last video. So now what we'll be looking at is a very important concept, that is the shape function in global, local and natural coordinate systems. We know that the global coordinate system means, in this case, if this x or the Cartesian coordinate is the coordinate system for our entire domain, that is from 0 to 1, then the if we place this coordinate system at the start of the domain, then if I mark this any of these nodes or any of these element with respect to this coordinate, then this coordinate will be called as a global coordinate system, which is applicable to the entire domain. So if I want to, in this case, if I want to say give the coordinate system of say this element, if I want to give the coordinate system of this element here, then it will be with respect to this x, fine. And then with respect to, and in this case for the global coordinate system, the shape functions are given as follows, which we had seen last time, which we had derived last time, that is ni will be xj minus capital X divided by xj minus xi, which comes to L. That is if I take this typical element from here, from this entire domain, and if I name this coordinate as xi and xj, then the length, suppose say, is L, and xj minus xi will be L. And similarly nj we had got it as x minus xi by L, where x is any coordinate from the origin. This is what we had derived for the global coordinate system. Now let us see what is local coordinate system. In case of local coordinate system, the coordinate system is placed at the start of the element. So if I consider this typical element here again, now in this case, the coordinate system is not placed at the start of the entire domain, but in case of local coordinate system, the coordinate system is placed at the start of that particular node. So in that case, if this is 0, then this will be L because since the length of this element is L. So the local coordinate system varies from 0 to L. And why we are looking at this different coordinate system is because it makes our integration easier, and we will see that we have to do lot of integration in deriving the properties of these elements in finite element method. And then in that procedure, if we shift from this global to local coordinate system or local to natural coordinate system, it makes our integration pretty easy. So in this case, once we switch from global to local coordinate system, our x will vary from 0 to L, whereas here in case of global coordinate system, our x, this x, capital X, varies over the domain. Suppose say our domain goes from 0 to 1, it varies from 0 to 1 or whatever is the domain. But here in case of local coordinate system, it will vary. This small x will vary over this length, so it will be from 0 to L. So it will vary over the length of this element. Now the relation between the global and the local coordinate system, can be given as x, capital X, is equal to xi plus small x. So this capital X becomes equal to this xi plus x. So this is the relation between the global and local coordinate system. And from here, if I want to find what is this value of small x, then that will be equal to capital X minus xi, and now you can see that whenever x is equal to xi, whenever this x is equal to xi minus xi will become 0, and small x we get it as 0. And then whenever x is equal to xj, if I substitute this x as xj, so xj minus xi is nothing but it will become L. So at x equal to xj, I get this local coordinate as L. So this is how our coordinates will be marked in case of local coordinate system. It will vary from 0 to L. This small x will vary from 0 to L. In case of global coordinate system, the coordinates are denoted by capital X. In case of local coordinate system, the coordinates are denoted by small x. Now in this case, these shape functions which were derived in Cartesian coordinate system, or in global coordinate system, that is Ni is equal to xj minus x by L, can be further simplified in terms of local coordinate system, as we know that in case of local coordinate system, this x is given as capital Xi plus small x divided by L. And then further, if I simplify this, I can write this as xj minus xi by L, and this will become minus x by L. And then xj minus xi is nothing but L. Therefore, I get this Ni as 1 minus x by L. So this first shift function in terms of local coordinate system can be written as 1 minus x by L. And similarly, nj, which is given in terms of Cartesian coordinate, in terms of global coordinate, as x minus xi by L, can be further written as this x can be written as xi plus x minus xi by L, and this xi will get cancelled with this xi. So nj can be written as x by L. So these are our shape functions for 1D linear element in terms of local coordinate system. And then if I check those properties of the shape function, all these three properties here, and we'll see that these shape functions obey all those properties. That is, the sum of the shape function should be equal to 1, which can be observed very well, that minus x by L and plus x by L will get cancelled if I add them up, and I'll get the sum as 1. The derivative of this shape function should be equal to 0. that is, again we can just appreciate that this will be minus 1 by L, this will be plus 1 by L, minus and plus 1 by L will become 0, and then it will be equal to, this Ni will be equal to 1 at x equal to xi, or at x equal to 0, at this node x will be equal to 0, so Ni will be equal to 1 here, and at this node, that is at x equal to L, this will be L by L, so 1 minus 1, Ni will be again 0 here. So again all those properties are still taken care by this shape functions in terms of local coordinate system. And finally we will see one more type of coordinate system, that is the natural coordinate system, and then this natural coordinate system is denoted by xi. So here the Cartesian or the global coordinate system is denoted by capital X, the local coordinate system is denoted by small x, and the natural coordinate systems are denoted by xi. So this natural coordinate system is nothing but it is a kind of a local coordinate system, but it is a special kind of a local coordinate system in its dimensionless form. Now, irrespective of what is the length of this element, the natural coordinate system, which is kind of a special type of a local coordinate system, varies from -1 to +1. Always it will vary from -1, minus 1 to +1, irrespective of what is the length of this element or from where we have picked this element from global coordinate system. So how it is mapped is the relation between this natural coordinate system and local coordinate system can be given as this xi is equal to 2x by L minus 1. This is the relation between the natural coordinate system and local coordinate system. So the relation between this natural coordinate system xi and local coordinate system small x is given by xi equal to 2x by L minus 1. And then from here I get this x as L by 2 xi plus 1. If I just readjust this term, if I multiply this L by xi, and then if I take this 1 this side and divide it by 2, I will get this x as L by 2 xi plus 1. So this is how the local coordinate systems are related with that of natural coordinate system, and then here if I just take the derivative of this, with respect to xi, I will get this as dx by dxi will be equal to L by 2. And this term is a very important term in finite element method, which is called as Jacobian, and then for a linear 1D element, it turns out that the Jacobian is equal to L by 2, half of the length of the element. We will see the importance of this in a later stage, but for time being you just remember that the derivative of the x with respect to xi, that is the derivative of the local coordinate with respect to the natural coordinate, is called as Jacobian, and the use of this we will see later on. And then similarly, the way here we have compared, or we have related this local coordinate with natural coordinate. Similarly, we can relate this we can relate this natural coordinate with that of Cartesian coordinate, and in that case the natural coordinate xi can be related with that of Cartesian coordinate as 2x minus xi minus xj divided by L. So this is the relation between the natural coordinate and that of the global coordinate. And then further, if I try to find here what is x in terms of xi, I can write it as L times xi plus xi plus xj divided by 2. So this is the relation between our global coordinate with that of natural coordinate. And then if I take the derivative of this x with respect to xi, I will get that as I'll get that as dx by d xi again as equal to L by 2, and this is again the Jacobian. This is nothing but again the Jacobian. This is again the Jacobian, and again, as we had said earlier, that the use of this Jacobian will say in the later stage. But this is how we can relate the natural coordinate system with that of local and with that of Cartesian coordinate and with that of the global coordinate system. So let us now derive the shape function. So let us now derive the shape function in terms of natural coordinates, in terms of natural coordinates. So we had seen that the shape function in terms of local coordinates, that is ni, can be given as 1 minus x by L. Ni can be given as 1 minus x by L. And then further we saw that this n this x in terms of natural coordinate can be written as L by 2 times xi plus 1. So if I just substitute that, if I substitute in place of x, if I substitute it as L by 2 times xi plus 1, if I just substitute this, and then if I start rearranging this term, that is this L and this L will get cancelled out, so this will become 1 minus half of xi plus 1. And if I further simplify this, if I subtract this 1, if I subtract this half from this 1, and then finally I'll get this as 1 minus xi by 2. So this is the shape function in terms of natural coordinate. Similarly, nj in terms of local coordinate is given by x by L. I just need to substitute what is x here. That is x is again L by 2 times xi plus 1. And then if I simplify this, I will get this nj as 1 plus xi by 2. So these are the shape functions of these are the shape functions of 1D linear element in terms of natural coordinates. So we saw that the shape function in terms of Cartesian coordinate, or sorry, I mean to say in terms of global coordinate, is given by this xj minus x by L, x minus xi by L. Similarly, the shape function of the same element in terms of local coordinate is given as is given as 1 minus x by L and x by L. And then further, the shape function of the same element in terms of natural coordinate is given by 1 minus xi by 2, 1 plus xi by 2. And again, if we go to check the properties, the sum of the shape function should be equal to 1. That is, this minus xi and plus xi will cancel out, half plus half will be equal to 1. And then similarly, other properties like ni equal to 1 at this node and ni equal to 0 at this node will also hold true.